Today we're making an aquarium, well, rather a shark tank, with the great products of Kendra's Card Challenge 14 super sponsor Kreativschatzkiste and their April 2024 release Best Chums. I used a paper and a stencil from the release, as well as a piece of packaging and a paste, to create this shark tank. I'm also using sketch number 9 of the recently released Kendra's Card Challenge number 14. This is a giveaway hop, so you can win a prize. Stay tuned. My name is Julia. I'm an enthusiastic card maker and paper crafter from Austria. Welcome to my channel, Julie's Kreativschatzkiste. Just 2 weeks ago, Kendra released the new Kendra's Card Challenge number 14. This is a free challenge where you can make 15 card sketches out of 6 sheets of 6x6 inch patterned paper. I will give you details about the challenge later, but let me tell you, there are great prizes to be won from our great super sponsors. And one of the super sponsors, in fact the new super sponsor, is Kreativschatzkiste. But let's jump right into crafting now and create our shark tank. The main ingredient of our shark tank is this 6x6 inch stencil Shark Party. Additionally, I needed a piece of packaging foil, and I chose this one, which is a little bit sturdier. For the background of the aquarium, I used this patterned paper, which is from a pack called Shark Bait. And finally, for the sharks, I will use glacier paste, which has a little bit of glitter in it. As preparation, I fixed a piece of packaging foil on my silicone mat, and on top of that I use washi tape to tape down my stencil. I really want to be sure that nothing can shift. When I'm distributing my paste on the stencil, I make sure that the paste is distributed evenly. I don't want to have too much of the paste on one spot, because then it takes ages to dry, but on the other hand I have to have enough paste on each of the sharks so that it's not transparent. And while you're watching me distributing the paste, I can tell you more about the giveaway hop, which this video is a part of. In my video description you will find a playlist for all the videos in this super sponsor hop for Kreativschatzkiste. I can really encourage you to check out all the videos from my KCC design team colleagues, because I'm sure you will get great inspiration there as well. In my video description you will also find a link to a form which you have to fill out in order to enter the prize drawing for the giveaway hop. The deadline for filling in this form is April 19th, 2024. The winner will then be randomly chosen and announced on the Cards by Kendra community tab. Kendra, from the YouTube channel Cards by Kendra, by the way, is the mastermind behind Kendra's Card Challenge. In my description box you will find the link where you can download the free PDF with the 15 card sketches and the corresponding cutting guide. To participate in the challenge, you have to submit a photo with all your 15 cards made with the challenge in the Cards by Kendra Facebook group, which you will find also linked in my description box. You can participate 3 times per challenge, so once for each quarter. Right on time, here's the great reveal of my stenciled sharks. I let that dry overnight, just to be sure, because on foil I think the paste takes a little bit longer to dry than on paper. Okay, now that this part is finished, we can start with the construction of our base card and the card sketch. I'm using sketch number 9 of Kendra's Card Challenge number 14 today. As you see, this card sketch is perfect for a kind of aquarium or shark tank, because there's this large rectangle on the right. These are the supplies I will be using. Beside the paper I have already shown you, I chose 2 other patterned papers and this stamp set, which is called Best Chums. All the products I'm showing you today are currently on pre-order on the Kreativschatzkiste website, and you will find links to all the products in my description box. The pre-order phase ends at midnight EST on April 14th. Kreativschatzkiste Creative generously provided me and my design team colleagues with some digital files of these products, but if you order with Kreativschatzkiste, you will get physical products, no digital images. Back to crafting. I will use an European A6 card format and not an American A2 card format for which the sketches are originally intended, so I have to make some amendments for this card sketch. But for sketch number 9 this is pretty easy. I just extend the paper strips on the left by adding a matting layer to them. Now I'm cutting all my papers according to the measurements given in the card sketches. The great thing about Kendra's Card Challenge is not only can you make the 15 cards out of 6 sheets of patterned paper, but you can also choose any of the sketches and just make the single sketch, because all the measurements for the single sketches are given as well. There's one more change I had to make for my aquarium in the card sketch. As you can see, the square on the right in white has actually the measurements of 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and there's a matting layer behind that with a 4-inch square. But I'm not using a matting layer here, but rather a frame for my aquarium. So I made the original aquarium also in a square 4 by 4 inches, and then I created a frame for it with a width of 1/4 of an inch. So in the end my card actually will look like the sketch, but it's just a different form of constructing it. So as I said, I cut this background paper as well as my foil with the sharks on it to a 4 by 4 inch square. The rest of the construction of my aquarium is kind of like a shaker card construction, without the shaking bits in it though. I started by cutting scrap paper into 1/4 of an inch strips. I will adhere 5 of these strips on top of each other and then use that for creating dimension in my aquarium. These staple paper strips are actually the walls of my kind of shaker, and I attach them on a background paper. On top of the walls I use double-sided tape for later adhering the foil on it. But before I attach my shark foil, I want to use some glitter sequins to get more interest into my aquarium. It actually fits perfectly to the bubbles on the background paper. When I'm attaching the shark foil to my card, I actually use the back side, so the smooth side of the foil, not the side that has the paste on it, because I want to make sure that it looks like the sharks are behind the glass. Already looks quite good, doesn't it? I really like this shark stencil. So now comes the part which was actually the most difficult part for me, making the frame for my aquarium. There are of course tools for making frames on the market, or you could also use nesting square dies if you have them. I don't, so I had to construct it for myself. I used a 4-inch square sheet of dark blue paper, and then I used my cutting knife and I manually cut the window into my frame with a smidge more than 1/4 of an inch margin. I made it a bit wider than 1/4 of an inch because the white paper strips below are exactly 1/4 of an inch and I didn't want them to be seen too much. This is also the reason why I took some black stamping ink and colored the edges of my aquarium in blue. Then I used double-sided tape to adhere my frame to my foil. And so my shark tank is finished. Now the only thing remaining is the final assembly of my card. As already mentioned, I added a matting layer to the 2 paper strips on the left side of the sketch. I used the same dark blue paper, which I also used for the frame of the aquarium. In order to avoid measuring the matting layer, I just adhered the paper strips to my dark blue paper and then cut them with a small margin. In the next step I took the stamped images which I chose from the stamp set and I preliminary arranged them on my card sketch. I colored the images in rather subtle blue and grey tones because the rest of the card is already very dark and blue, so I wanted to draw attention to my shark and my sentiment by leaving them rather light. For cutting out my sentiment I used this scissor, which is actually part of my sewing tools. This scissor doesn't cut a straight line, but rather a zigzag, which reminded me of shark teeth. Finally, I glued all my different components of the card onto my blank card. For the aquarium and the paper strips I used liquid glue, and for my sentiment and my stamped images I used foam tape to get some dimension to my card. As a final step I used the stencil once more and colored one shark onto my sentiment, just very lightly. And I also colored the edges of my sentiment in blue. And this is my finished card for today. I really like how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching the video and consider leaving me a like or a comment, or even subscribing to my channel if you have not already done so. Please check out the entire playlist in my description box for this giveaway hop, and don't forget to fill in the form linked in my description box by April 19th for your chance to win a prize. Please also check out Kendra's card challenge, it's really great fun to participate. Thank you for watching, until next time, servus!